So this is Claire with the Angels, and we're over in the Redstone area of the how-to world. And what this is going to be, it's going to be a little additional episode to go with the basic Redstone. As you can see from the horse in the background, Title Update 19 has come out for the console. So what we've got is a couple of new input and output devices, and some miscellaneous stuff to do with Redstone that I just want to go through with you. First up is two new pressure plates. These are weighted pressure plates, and they depend on the amount of weight you put on them as to how much power they give out. So the metal one, the iron one, is the heavy duty one. I've got to admit, the more standing on it only sends 1 block's worth of power. I can't seem to throw enough stuff on it to make it go more than 1 block. I haven't managed to make it go more than 1 block yet. The gold one, standing on it, also sends it 1 block. But if you start throwing stuff on it, it seems to be about 3 blocks to make it go 1 power. I'm picking them up as soon as I'm putting them down there. But yeah, the more blocks you put on, the more power it sends. So that's the weighted pressure plates. Next up is the trap chest. So when you open it, it sends 1 block's worth of redstone signal. That's not a massive help unless you put a redstone repeater behind it, if you want a trap that's anywhere other than 1 block away. But if I open that now, because I've got the redstone repeater in boosting it, it lights up. That's the trap chest. That sends a weak redstone signal when it's opened. Next, we can now make redstone into redstone blocks, which acts just as a power source, kind of the same way as a redstone torch. The benefit of this is you can stick it on a sticky piston and move it in and out of circuits to power circuits unrelated to your switch. We may play with that at a later date, but for now, as far as this is concerned, it's an extra input device. The next thing we've got is we've now got a daylight sensor, a solar sensor. So when the sun's coming down and hitting it, it sends a signal. If there's no sun, the signal goes off. I've got it hooked up here to a light, so the sun's on, it's powering this, which powers the light. That's not massively helpful if you want to light your house when it's dark. So what I've done here is I've just inverted the signal. So I've got the lamp powered by a redstone torch, but then I've got this running to the block that the torch is sitting on. I've got the signal from the daylight sensor. So if you haven't inverted anything before, this is pretty much how you do it. A torch will be on all the time. If you send power to the block that a torch is sitting on, it'll turn the torch off. So for this, as long as it's detecting daylight, it sends a signal, which turns the torch off, which turns the lamp off. As soon as it gets to night, this won't be providing signal anymore. The daylight detector won't provide signal anymore, which means the torch will turn back on, which means the lamp will come on. So that's quite a good thing to have, a good thing to know how to do if you want automatic lights in your house when it gets dark. So yes, they're the new input devices. There's also a comparator, which can kind of work as an input device. We'll look at that in a minute. What I want to look at next, though, are droppers, hoppers. Droppers, hoppers. A dropper is kind of like a dispenser, but instead of firing stuff out at speed, it sort of gently pushes it out. And the other difference about a dropper is, you can see it looks slightly different on the front there from a dispenser. The other difference about a dropper is it'll push things directly into chests when it's given a signal. So it's got a little storage inventory in there. It's got a 9-slot storage inventory, the same as a dispenser. But you can pop a chest in front of it, and if stuff is in the dropper, let's put a few blocks of emerald in there. 3 blocks of emerald. You'll see why I've got all that emerald in a minute. We've put it in the dropper. It's in the dropper menu. If we give that dropper some current, a pulse of current, it will push 1 thing through into the chest. There's 2, pushed a 3rd time, and there's all 3 moved into the chest. So a dropper holds things until you give it a redstone signal, and then it'll push it or drop it wherever you've got it pointed. It will also drop things upwards or push things upwards. Now there's a new nifty trick. You can make dispensers, droppers and things point any way you want now. And you can connect them onto other things. By pressing R3 and crouching, and then placing a chest on top of it, or a hopper on top of it, or whatever you want, that'll place it on top of it rather than opening the menu. So normally L2 would open the dropper, or the dispenser, or whatever. Pressing crouch just now lets you place whatever you want on top of it there. So again, that's a chest. Let's just pop a few emeralds in. 3 more again. So there's some emeralds in the dropper that's pointing upwards. Let's give it some signal. 1, 2, 3. I feel like that should be a magic trick. We should be saying, Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy, or something like that. But there you go, they pushed it from the dropper vertically upwards. The next thing we've got here is a hopper. Now, hoppers will collect anything you throw at them or push into them with a dropper. So I've just thrown a few random things in there. It goes from the hopper, and because I've got the hopper connected up to the chest, it places it straight in the chest. So that's gonna come in quite helpful for a few things. And then what I've got here is a hopper connected to a dropper, connected to a chest. Just, why not, basically. So you can connect droppers, hoppers, and chests, or furnaces, or brew stands, or anything that's got inventory slots built into it. You can connect them up like this. I have done a quick little sample. Oh look, there's my daylight inverter lamp lit up now because it's night time. I tell you what, let's have a quick nap. Standard formula for how-tos. Quick little nap, and then I will show you just quickly a little setup I've done to take advantage of the dropper hopper mechanics. So over behind the wall here, what I've got is I've got a stream of water, which, as everyone will probably know, runs 8 blocks. So that runs out at the mouth of the hopper. What I've then got is I've got a tripwire, and that is because the hopper is feeding into this dropper, which is sat underneath the chest. So what I wanted to do, I wanted the chest at ground level. So I've put the dropper underneath, but now when anything falls into this hopper, it'll automatically trip this tripwire, which powers this little circuit, which is on a little bit of delay, and that makes the dropper fire up into the chest. So if let's throw this redstone in, that'll float down the water, it'll drop into the hopper and trigger the tripwire as it does. The hopper has pushed it into the dispenser, the redstone has triggered the dropper, which has pushed it through up into the chest. So that's quite a nice little automated collecting system, especially if you've got an automatic crop or monster harvester. Everything will fall into the water, it'll get washed down into the hoppers, and then it'll automatically push itself into the chest, and you'll have a nice full chest when you get back. So that's just a little practical application. Now the next thing I want to look at is the comparator. That's the other new thing we've got. You might get a little bit confused because it looks a little bit like the redstone repeater, but the difference is it's got the 2 toggles at the back. Now the comparator, it's got a couple of uses. I'm still playing about with it really, but I can talk you through basically what it does. First of all, it directs signal the same way as a repeater does, in that it's directional. If you can see the arrow there, that's the way it's going to push the signal on. However, redstone has power. So when it's just come out of the source block, if it's a source of current, so a redstone torch or a redstone block, comes out at full strength, and it'll travel 15 blocks. And if we travel along these 15 blocks, you can see they get progressively dimmer the further we go along, so they're getting less and less power. So if we go back to the beginning, the way I've been thinking of it is, as it comes out the block, it's got 15 power. Then that's 14 power, 13 power, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 1 power is obviously the weakest. Now, when you add a redstone repeater to redstone, you'll all be used to that. It'll take the signal and it'll boost it back up to full strength. So it'll go from a dim red to a bright red. It'll go from whatever strength goes into it to a full 15 again. Comparators don't do that. When you add a comparator into the circuit, it'll push on the signal at exactly the same strength that it got it. So down here, that's no problem. That's pushing on a full 13 as it comes out there. If we go along, you'll see that the signal it's pushing out is getting weaker and weaker as we go along. So at the end here, where we're at 1 signal, it's pushing out just the 1 again. It's not pushing it through, really. It's really weak signal. So a comparator will only push on current at the same strength as it gets it, whereas a redstone repeater will boost it up to full strength again. The other thing for comparators is you can wire them up to all 3 sides and they will compare the signal. So this will be for like pretty advanced circuit making. But if you've got a signal coming in and a signal coming in, if you've just put your comparator down, it'll compare the signal and it will give you different outputs depending on which way the signal's looped around. What you can also do is you can use it as an adding device, or rather a subtracting device. If you L2 the comparator, it will switch to subtract mode. And what it will do then is it will output a specific amount of power based on the biggest thing going in minus the smallest. So this is 8 blocks worth of signal, so that's getting 8, and that is 2. So it takes the 2 away from the 8, and it should give us 6 blocks of output signal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see 6 is still sparking, the 7th one isn't. So it works as a subtractor. So that can tell us the condition of various circuits. I will give you a practical application of that in a later how-to, but for now let's leave it at that. The other use for comparators is to tell you the state of a block, is the technical word, I think. What that actually means is if you put it next to something that holds stuff, so a chest or a furnace or a brew stand, it will provide signal depending on how full or otherwise the chest is. So that chest is currently empty and that's providing no signal. If I put a set in, it then provides 1 block of signal. Now you can work out how many blocks of signal the comparator is going to provide. You need to do a little bit of maths. So we know that the comparator pushes, at full strength, would push 15 blocks of current. So then you need to work out how many full stacks of something you would need to fill. We're going to use chest for this example, but it does work for furnaces and things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 3 is 27? 27? Sounds right, 27. So then we've got 27 stacks and we need to divide that by 15. So it's about 4, I think. It's about 4 would be a quarter. So I reckon every 2 stacks will light up 1 block, push it a block further. So there's 4 stacks and it's lit 3. There's 5 stacks and it's still on 3. There's 6 stacks and it's gone to 4, so it's lit this first lamp up. So that's a quarter full. So that tells me that the chest is a quarter full, which looks about right. So if I then go to half full in the chest, or approximately half full, that will have travelled another 4 blocks worth of current and it's lit the second lamp up. And if I fill it 3/4 full, or roughly another one, yeah, that's lit the third lamp up, so it's 3/4 full. And there we go, full chest, so it's sending it for the full 15 blocks. So if you didn't understand that, basically what I did there is I divided the 15 blocks that I know it can travel into quarters. So to get it to travel 4 blocks, I knew I needed to fill quarter of the chest, which is about 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for every 4 blocks that it's travelled, I've just connected a lamp up to it. Every 4 blocks of redstone. So I would know how full that chest is, depending on how strong the signal coming out of it is. There's various other things you can do with that, but I thought that was probably the easiest way to show you that the strength changes depending on how full or otherwise the chest is. So you do have to do a little bit of mental maths for that one if you're setting it up for whatever, but you can work out to calibrate how many things you want to put in it to get a specific strength. So if I wanted this to travel, to provide a current that would travel 2 blocks, I think I need about 3 blocks in there. Yeah, half of the 6, because we know 6 is a quarter, which is 4 blocks. So half of 4 blocks, 2 blocks, would be 3 full stacks in the chest, which is what that is. And I now know that's travelling 3 blocks worth of current. So that is comparators. Comparators, daylight sensors, redstone blocks, weighted pressure plates, trap chests, droppers and hoppers. That's the new redstone stuff to title update 19. So keep an eye out. We'll do more stuff in later how-tos on more intermediate circuits, and we'll look at some pretty crafty tricks, traps that you can do using all of these things in later how-tos. That's it for this episode. That was Minecraft How To. I'm Claire for the Angels. If you liked this video, please like, share and comment. You can follow us on Twitter, Tumblr or Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching!